But this is an important thing that happens during from 2005 and 2006. This is the indictment against Jeffrey Epstein for the first case against him. And this is a game changer. Eventually, this would bring John Stanley Pottinger to have to come back onto the scene. And we're about to discover, I mean, let me explain something to everybody beforehand. This is so enormous. This case is so enormous. It's so dangerous. It's going to blow up. At some point, they can't cover up things for this amount of time. Back then, they had people like Stanley Pottinger and others. Yeah, they could cover things up. Don't want to distract you with Heather Mills McCartney. Let's go back onto that page. They could they could cover things up back in the day, and they could, for instance, Pottinger could say that's irrelevant to the court, and you won't find out about it for another 30 years. So that's a perfect example of that. 30 years that cover-up will last. Nowadays, cover-ups don't last that long. Damn, nowadays, if they put a propaganda, like, for instance, the Wagner army are coming to take over Russia, a week before, Putin's going to fall, a week later, and they're saying, Putin's now strengthened in his position, and none of it was real. So, it's like things fall apart quicker now because of the way media works and how savvy people have become. And people knew where this was going. Slowly, as the Epstein case got revealed, everybody who was involved in it know their part would be revealed eventually. Whether it's not at the first hurdle or the second hurdle or the third hurdle, those hurdles will be high. Those first hurdles will be really high, and this was the first hurdle. 2005, 2006, the investigations began after that little girl told her mum and her dad, and I feel sad about it. I feel really sad. I feel like this is the moment when they could have stopped a load more. They could have stopped they could have done the right thing. This is the moment. This is the crossroads of the truth. And what happened in the first investigation and first case is even though the initial investigating officer, I believe, was well-meaning, it all got swallowed up to the point where Jeffrey Epstein got 12 months in prison with a sweetheart deal where he was allowed to leave the door open and leave whenever he wants. He set up a non-profit organization and an office where he could go and work for himself every day.
In prison.
Yeah.
It's just not prison,
or not,
is it?
Yeah.
He donated various large sums of money to the prison just before for all of these things to be made to happen. So this is just like, we know he did not, and they were careful. They only, I think it was about I can't remember how many counts it was at the start, but it wasn't many. But they mentioned the New York residence and the Palm Beach residence, and that would mean that he would have to register if convicted as a sex offender in wherever he is. So in this indictment, it's saying in particular from at least in or around 2002 up into and including at least around 2005. But this was still the beginning of the investigation.